In this lecture, I will discuss the uses of semicolon. Semicolon is a non-terminal punctuation mark. It is used inside sentences. Therefore, we also call it internal punctuation mark. This is the symbol: a dot, a full stop, a period, and a comma. The first use is that we can use semicolon instead of coordinating conjunction. Consider the sentence. These are new, those are old. If there is no punctuation mark or conjunction between two clauses, the structure is a run-on sentence. And if we have only a comma separating two clauses, we have a comma splice structure construction. Here we can use but and coordinating conjunction. So we have used a semicolon here. Places where we can use coordinating conjunctions also allow the use of semicolon. The gang was rounded up the red and the leader escaped. Here again we can use a coordinating conjunction, and this is the reason we can use a semicolon here. The second use of semicolon is when we have internal comma in items in a series. Consider this sentence: I have friends from New York, the United States, Mumbai, India, Lahore, Pakistan, and Dhaka, Bangladesh. This sentence we have the items in a series: 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, 4 item. We have 4 items in this series, and each of these item comprises a comma. Each of these items contains comma internally. You can say here we have a comma, here we have a comma, here we have a comma, here we have comma. So the rule is that we have a comma internally in the items in the series. The items themselves will be separated through a semicolon or semicolons if we have multiple places, not comma. You can see here we have used semicolon, not comma, semicolon, not comma. Usually we separate items in a series with comma, but when the items themselves carry comma, we will use semicolon to separate the items themselves. And if we have a compound complex sentence and we have a comma used in the construction, we have a comma already used in the construction, we will use semicolon instead of comma before the coordinating conjunction. We use comma before the coordinating conjunction in usual places, but here as we have already used a comma, we will not use a comma here, but instead of it we will use a semicolon. The next use is before conjunctive adverbs. Conjunctive adverbs are words which perform two functions, that of adverb and conjunct. You can see here otherwise. Otherwise is linking two clauses, so it is performing the function of a conjunction, and it is also modifying this fact in this statement. It is therefore performing the function of an adverb. This is in a conjunctive adverb. When we have a conjunctive adverb, we will use a semicolon before it and a comma after it, and we will start the conjunctive adverb with a small letter. You can see here we have a small letter, not a capital letter. Another possible construction for such cases is that we will use comma before and after the conjunctive adverb, or we can also use a full stop, then a conjunctive adverb, and then a comma. These three are the possibilities. With conjunctive adverbs we have three possibilities: comma plus comma followed by a conjunctive adverb with a starting with a small letter and then comma, or we can have a comma conjunctive adverb starting with a small letter and then comma, or we can have full stop conjunctive adverb starting with a capital letter and then comma. Some other conjunctive adverbs are rather, therefore, then, thus, etc. The next punctuation mark is apostrophe. This is the symbol. We also call it flying comma or inverted comma. The first use is in contraction where we omit some letters in the construction. I am either here M is omitted, skipped, therefore instead of it we have used flying comma, inverted comma, apostrophe. It is raining, it's raining. I is omitted, skipped, therefore we have used flying comma, apostrophe, inverted comma. This is not a contraction, this is a possessive adjective. After it we will use a noun. The next use is when we want to show position of a noun, and if the position is of a single entity and it ends not with an s, is here. These are Eram's results called. Eram is a singular noun and it ends not with a s. So we have used apostrophe here. But if we have a combined position, the entity is shared. The possessed entity is shared, just like here. Project is shared. The project is for Iram and Sheila. One project for Iram and Sheila. They both share a single project. Therefore, when we have such construction that two nouns share a single thing, a single entity, we will use the apostrophe after the last noun, just like here, not here, after the first noun. But if the possessed entity is not shared, that is that the noun, both the nouns have different or individual share. As here, Iram and Sheila is recorded. Here, Iram has result cards and Sheila has result card. The result cards of Iram and Sheila are different. So we have used apostrophe with Iram as well as with Sheila. And if the noun of which we are showing position ends with an s and it is a plural, we will use only apostrophe, not an s. But if it is plural and not ends with an s, then we will use apostrophe as well as s, just like children's cards. And if we have compound nouns are nouns which are formed of more than one word. Mother-in-law, we will use the apostrophe after the last word here. Mother-in-law's result cards. The last use of apostrophe is to make plural of numbers and letters. His first inning consists of 6s and 4s. Correct your use. These are plural of 4s, these are plural of 6, these are plural of use.